Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within.
In terms of the best advice to give, I think part of it is just knowing that there's going to be a moment of adversity during the day, and there's going to have to be a moment of perseverance during the day. So the adversity is coming today. I don't know what form or shape it's going to take, but I've made the conscious decision before the day starts to persevere in spite of whatever that adversity may happen to be. I feel like when these kids come in now, regardless of how we get a hold of them through the draft or free agent signings, I want them to feel welcome right away. I feel like when these young men have a chance to be themselves, they have a chance for the best of who they are to really shine through.
You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer.
Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Today again, a good friend on. It's Dave Grieco. Dave is a Jersey-born singer-songwriter of gritty American music. He will take us on a ride recounting parts of his musical journey and biggest influences. Dave, how are you today?
I'm great. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. I did joke with you and say we were going to have a fire here, just like the summits back in the 80s with Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan. And I wasn't joking. There is a fire behind us.
It's quite cozy at that, yeah.
And it's cozy here in my humble abode.
It smells good in here, too, so well done.
It does. Lavender?
Is that what it is?
I have no idea.
It's delightful.
These little pods say 99 cents for two, and I say, that smells better than I do, so I'll put it in my room.
I like it. It works.
Okay. Hey, we years ago, in probably 03 and 04, met at what's called the Developmental Learning Center over in New Providence, New Jersey, probably about a mile from here. We struck up a relationship basically because you and I were in close proximity to each other as teachers' assistants.
Right.
In this school, and then I found out that you were a music guy, a music buff, music guru, and you had this song called "Middle School Teacher" that you wrote back, and I think 4 or 5 years ago, I talked to you about it out, and you had not remembered that you wrote it. But I'm thinking now you remember. You recall writing that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That was actually about after I left the DLC where we worked together. I worked in Jersey City at a pretty rough middle school, and it was kind of play on that. It was on piano, I think. Not that I'm a proficient piano player, but yeah, I never did anything with that, and maybe it's one to revisit. I don't know.
Do you recall a line from a lyric from the song itself?
I'm a middle school teacher and I work hard, working shifts in the cafeteria, patrolling the yard, I have to think harder about that.
I think you started somewhere in the song and there was a line about, a toilet. And the toilet seat was talking to you and saying, hey, I know I'm having a bad day, but I think you got it worse than me.
You remember that?
Yes.
That's pretty funny. There might have been some banter in between, but yeah. That was a crazy job. Hats off to people who still are there.
So this is Jersey City.
It was Jersey City. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to give the name of the school, but yeah, it wasn't easy. We had it was middle school. We had gangs and pregnancies and the whole nine.
It goes beyond just the classroom and the rigor that goes into the classroom.
Very much so, yeah. Some of these problems, they just blame it on the teachers, and it seems like there's bigger societal issues at hand that can't just be tackled in a 45-minute class. But you do what you can,
A lot of things going on there. But that's how I know you. You work in grit, and your music is gritty. You're a singer-songwriter of gritty American music. So I'll ask you this.
Yeah.
You've been writing music for about 20 years.
Yeah.
Or a little bit even more.
That's fair.
And being that you are a singer-songwriter of gritty American music, to repeat it again, is that a reflection of your life's journey, your musical journey, or a little bit of both?
Probably my influences, and I came from a good family, and grew up in a nice place, so I can't say it's strictly my life story, but no, I've always been drawn to kind of reality and the grit and kind of shy away from the shiny or poppy stuff. I mean, there's a place for that too, but just in what I appreciate in art, it's life can be tough. It's beautiful, but it's not always easy, and there's beauty in grit and struggle, and without that, it's bad art and bad songs.
Just plain bad. Two things come to mind when you say that. I've told you before, I'm a podcast fiend in a particular podcast. This is a baseball podcast. And there was a coach on there that said, once you get to the top of the mountain, you look over and notice there's another mountain to climb.
Right.
So yes, it's life is not easy, but you've got to find the beauty along in the journey. Do you recall the first song you ever wrote?
Yeah. It's called Farewell to Richmond. It was about a friend of mine who, he was originally from California. He moved over in second grade, maybe. And then at the end of high school, he moved back to California with his family. So yeah, it was a kind of a bon voyage to a old friend of mine.
Okay, so a little bit of a
not a particularly good song, but
listen,
you got to start somewhere.
Listen, you got to start somewhere, and you got to sift through. It's almost like in the beginning, anyway. And people will get on me for maybe saying this, but throwing the spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. At the beginning, and then eventually you eventually write a good one. Eventually you get there. I know. I listen to you. You certainly have. I don't know if I have to this point, but it's a lot of trial, a lot of error, and oftentimes I know I look back and think, what the heck was I thinking writing that?
Right. Yeah.
Where was I?
I don't know if that goes away either. I mean, I still throw things at the wall, and there's a lot of this is all crap, but these two lines are good. Let's see if I can marry this somewhere else, and kind of Frankenstein songs,
What's the songwriting process for you like, typically speaking?
It varies. I typically I get hot and cold. I'll have good stretches of strong months, and then just nothing. Just dry. Some songs come out quicker. I've written songs in as quick as 10 minutes, but that's kind of the exception to the rule. Usually it's kind of a struggle. You gotta just have your antenna out and be paying attention and come across a good line. Oh, that's a good line. Let's see where, it's the beginning, or sometimes you work backwards. Oh, that would be a good hook for a chorus. Where what's the rest of the song? How do I get there? I used to, right now I have two different jobs, but my commute is really short, which is nice for I can wake up late and that kind of thing. But I used to do a lot of my best writing driving. I'd be driving and something would inspire me, maybe the radio or something. I'd turn the radio off and I would just kind of free verse, kind of improv to myself in the car. And if, I come up with a good line or a couplet or something, I'll just repeat it and just try to build on it. And sometimes, jot something down, or I've had different recorders and stuff like that. But driving, I found, is really beneficial for me in the writing process. Just kind of your mind just kind of goes, and so that's been good. Again, I don't have that luxury anymore of a commute, but
smooth 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's about 6 minute drive right now, so it's hard to get much work done in that. But yeah, it comes in trickles, and you just got to be paying attention. And one of my friends had a job a while ago, probably 20 summers ago. I think it was either West Nile. It was one of these diseases that mosquitoes they were afraid were carrying. And his job, he'd have to drive around these like pastures, these fields in northern Jersey with this net, kind of sticking out the window of this pickup truck with a net, and try to catch these bugs. And I think songwriting is a lot like that. You have to have a net out the window, and and hopefully you come across some good ones, But if you're not paying attention, you can miss a lot of stuff because every day there's interesting things happening, and people say stupid, funny things that are that could be used.
Yes.
Yeah. But you got to pay attention. Yeah.
I like that. Keep the antenna up, and the ultimate irony, right? Short commute to work, but for a singer-songwriter, that's a roadblock.
It's a roadblock.
That's a roadblock.
I got to take a longer way. I'm just going to start leaving her. Take unnecessary highways and stuff to my job. It's 3 miles away.
Hey, a circuitous route to your job.
Exactly.
Oh boy!
In search of the song.
In search of the song. What's he doing? He's songwriting right now. No, he's driving. He's actually songwriting. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Oh man, Dave, we're gonna go from that great story into. A little bit more about you. It's a game called What, Which, and Where.
Great.
So I know you're a follower of the podcast, are you not?
Yeah.
Tongue in cheek. So what we do on this, for everyone else who has not heard this portion of the podcast yet, I will give Dave a line from maybe one of his influences, maybe one of our influences as people, and he's going to tell me who he thinks it came from. Dave, are you ready?
I'm ready. I hope.
Okay. First quote in What, Which, and Where. Who said it? It goes like this. I accept chaos, but I'm not sure it accepts me.
I'm going to say Bob Dylan.
You are absolutely correct.
Awesome. If it's not Dylan, it doesn't matter. It's Bob Dylan.
It does not matter. It's Bob Dylan. First, give me 3 words that come to mind when I say Bob Dylan.
Genius, master, and reinvention would be I guess the 3. He's the best songwriter of the last 50 years at least. He really invented a lot of these genres we have today. I mean, so many artists have just taken one aspect of his career and made careers out of them themselves. But he was just a master of, you're pegging me as a folk guy? Okay, I'm going to start this thing called, lyrical rock and roll. Okay, you have me there as electric. All right, now I'm a family man, country guy singing with Johnny Cash and this, high voice that no one recognizes. Oh, you have me there. Okay, I'm gonna come out with some of my best stuff in the 70s, just really amazing trilogy. And then he was on to his Christian period, and then kind of rediscovered Judaism a little bit. 80s, he had some misses, but even on his misses, there's always gems in all of his stuff. And then he completely reinvents himself again in the 90s, releasing one of his best albums, I think, Time Out of Mind. It's one of my top albums. Won a Grammy, maybe 2, 97. And now, he's covering the Great American Songbook. He just released a trilogy of Sinatra covers, which is amazing. People, what is he doing? But in my opinion, the guy he can do whatever he wants. I mean, he's Bob Dylan, and there's just nobody like him. Yeah, he's saying, I think, what is he? 70,
mid-70s somewhere.
I think 78. I want to say he's born in 41. And the guy's still doing 100 shows a year. He's been doing it since the mid-90s, I think. It was the never-ending tour. It's unreal.
First Dylan concert you went to was?
I was in college. Yeah, it was some school in Vermont. I don't remember which school it was, but we all piled. I went to school in New Hampshire, and we drove and got lost and found this little auditorium. We walked in.
And you wish you would get lost now driving to work.
Yeah, right. We made it. We made it on time. We caught the first song. You opened with the cover of "I Am the Man," Thomas, which is an old Christian song. And we walked in. I was nervous about being late, and I look over, and he was 10 feet away on the stage. It was a really small auditorium. It was great. And I've seen him about 12, 13 times since. But yeah, that was a big one. But my discovery of Dylan came in college. I played football my freshman year. And I stopped after that. And I remember when football season ended, I want to look for an album or something. And I was at the college bookstore, and there was his first greatest hits. And I bought that, and it just floored me that, just this one guy with a kind of unconventional voice, which I love his voice. could be just so powerful, these songs. And so from there, I remember Columbia House, where you order the CDs. Yeah, so I ordered 10 10 first CDs, chronological order, which just covers the 60s. That's how prolific he was. And I remember they came, and my grades suffered after that. But man, that was some day getting these 10. I went and ordered. I listened to Bob Dylan, Freewheelin', straight through. And I never looked back. And that's when I decided, I got to try this songwriting thing.
So it was spawned by your love, your idolization, if you will, of Dylan's music. That's when you started songwriting after that period.
Yeah, there was something about it where, maybe naively or whatever, but I thought, I think I can do this. I want to try this. This guy doesn't, I don't know, he doesn't have the conventional great voice or whatever. Again, I think he's got I love his voice, but it's not conventional, and it was just the power of the lyric, and I said, I'm gonna give this a shot. So I started writing after that. Yeah.
And you haven't looked back since?
No. So I bought an acoustic guitar that I didn't know how to play when I was a senior in high school, and I actually left it at home because I don't want to be that guy walking around, college campus with a guitar and not knowing how to play a chord. Oh, cool, you play? No, I just, looks nice.
Osmosis.
Yeah. So I left it at home, and then I said, all right, I'm going to bring it up. So I brought it up after, I went home for Christmas and brought it up the second semester, and then 2 months later, I did a talent show. I wrote this song called The Bad Haircut Blues, and it was pretty well received. And that was it. Yeah, I started playing coffee shops and stuff like that up there.
The Bad Haircut Blues.
Yeah, that's right.
I have that every day of my life. Outstanding. Dave, 1 for 1.
Yeah.
1 for 1 and what you wear. It's time to lock back in. Thank you for the story. Here's the second quote. When I was younger, I wanted to be older. Now that I'm older, I'm not so sure.
Is that Tom Waits?
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Holy heck!
Well, you are hitting my top dogs. Yesterday was his birthday, in fact. Tom's D-Day, right? Turned 69, and man, he's just an American treasure. There's nobody like Tom Waits.
He really is. Can I tell it? Make a terrible. How would you explain? Cheesy comment?
Yeah, sure.
I think we're striking a chord here on episode 39 of the podcast. Well played. Continue. Tom's birthday, yes.
Yeah, it was yesterday. So, it's 69. I was fortunate enough to see him twice in concert when he did the Glitter and Doom tour in 2008. I was front row. I have a friend who's a master at getting tickets online. And he got me front row, Columbus Theater in Ohio. And then a week later, I drove to Atlanta, and we were 8th or 10th row in Fox Theater in Atlanta. And man, what a show. That was his last tour. And I wonder if he's going to ever tour again. His last album, Bad As Me, it's been, 7 or 8 years, I think, since he put that out. He's doing a lot of acting now.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a fine actor. I don't know if you saw, if you have Netflix, if you saw the Coen Brothers' last release, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
I have not.
It's fantastic. Coen Brothers is just great. But it's 6 vignettes. They all take place in the West and Wild West. And the fourth one is Tom, and he plays a prospector. And he's just a natural-born prospector. And it's my favorite acting role he's ever done. And he's mostly alone. There's a mule in there as well. But it's about 20 minutes long, but just well worth watching, and it's funny, and he's just fantastic. So but I read books on him, and he always wanted to be an old man. He'd go to his friend's house, and he'd just hang out with the fathers or whatever, and talk about Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra, and he dressed like an old man as a young guy in his 20s, and he's always been drawn to that, and but as far as gritty, there's nobody grittier, and he's just another genius, master songwriter.
The roots of your grit, Mr. Dylan, Mr. Waits.
Yeah, I'd say.
Give me 3 words that come to mind when I say Tom Waits.
I would have to say genius again. Eccentric. and maybe Fearless. I mean, he was another guy. He didn't care if people liked what he was doing or not. The same way with Bob, they both kind of had that ability to kind of reinvent themselves and make music that they wanted to make, regardless of if anyone was listening or approved or whatever. Tom has a quote. Someone said, you don't have any radio, you don't have any hits or anything. He said, "Oh, you say it like it's a bad thing." You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He just totally doesn't care.
Maybe I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So, I mean, most people know him from his people who cover him, Rod Stewart, Downtown Train, or Bruce does Jersey Girl. Everyone thinks it's a Bruce Springsteen song, but that's actually a Tom Waits song. And yeah.
Tom Waits, Bob Dylan, Dave Grieco. Dave, you are 2 for 2.
All right.
The final part of What, Which, and Where is this quote. We used to punch that bag till our knuckles would bleed. Put salt right on the wounds.
Man, that's a good line.
It is.
Who wrote that? That'd be me.
That was you.
Yeah,
okay,
thanks.
from the song
Thanks.
Cap Gun Outlaws.
Yeah. So that's the title track of my one and only album I put out 3 years ago called Cap Gun Outlaws. And it was about a kid named Rick Murphy, who was my next door neighbor and, best bud growing up. And Rick was a latchkey kid. So we'd take the bus home and we'd go to his house because my mom was home. And we found that, it was more fun to do things unsupervised. So one of our things we would do for some unknown reason, he had this leather punching bag in his basement, and we used to just beat it up, and our knuckles would literally bleed, and we're like, let's put, we got out salt, and we just, I heard this hurts, let's give it a shot. And we, stab our bloody knuckles into the salt and just scream, and kids, just boys want to adventure at all costs, regardless of how stupid it was.
There's a lot to be said with that one word. If you just say kids,
yes.
Right? 4 letters.
Exactly.
Says so much. Kids.
Yeah. So, we would do all sorts of we branded ourselves, and we did all sorts of ridiculous things.
You branded yourselves?
Well, yeah, so the song opens with the line, we would have given ourselves tattoos if we only had the gun. We were fond of breaking rules. We were reckless when we were young. So we didn't have a tattoo gun. But the next best thing, the song ends with a line, how does it end?
I'm a fan too, and I
No, it's fine. Now you go get your hot dog prongs, and I'll fire up the stove. We'll give ourselves big old scars to remind us just how we rolled. So we, to compensate for not having a tattoo gun, we would heat up this hot dog prong and then jab it into each other's arms. We were like, 11, 12 years old. I still have a faint scar. We try to make.
I was going to ask, do you still have scars?
It's faint. Yeah, we try to make crosses. So the first branding was is a little deeper because the second one we realized how much it hurt, and we were much quicker to pull away. So the first one's still there. The second one not so much.
Experience is the best teacher.
That's right.
For sure. Oh man. Favorite out of that album, your favorite song to perform? Not to put you on the spot, but I just
that's tough. It depends on the room, I would say. If it's a loud bar, then definitely Three-Eyed Fish. It's just a blues romp about this kind of mysterious magical fish who gets a town drunk on this wine. And it's just a romp, and it has a good call and response, and people sing along to it. And I usually end with that song because it's just upbeat and it's easy to dance to and that kind of thing. If it's a more intimate crowd and it's a coffee shop kind of scene, that one doesn't work as well. And I'd probably say For a Rose. It's just kind of pretty, and there's some good lines in there. And yeah, I'll typically, if it's a quieter show, I'll close with that one. So I guess those two.
Okay. Hey, we need to get to it. I mean, you're telling all these stories
Yeah,
about your music. First of all, you are a legitimate 3 for 3.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Well, the last one was a real softball, as they say.
It was. But usually I do that for those that are 0 for 2 to boost their morale some. But you didn't need that, so maybe I need to put a 4th in there. But I didn't. So congratulations.
Well, much appreciated.
Of course. So now for a musical performance, people. Dave has got 2 songs for us, and I'll let him introduce the first one.
So the first one, it's kind of old, actually. It's probably 10, 12 years old. Actually, it's crazy how time goes. But it's not on my first album. It will be on the next one. And you spend time in bars and bartending and drinking or whatever, and you come across these stories and these people, and this just kind of it's mostly fictional, but there's some reality to it. It's not about myself, but it is in the first person, and it's called Next to a Lady. Well, the moon is shining brightly, and the night is clear as day. I got a sweet little lady sitting beside me. Please don't go away, 'cause I look good next to a lady, and I feel fine when they're around. Do you mind if I call you baby, or is it an uncomfortable sound? I said, babe, I didn't get your name. Is it Mary? Could it possibly be Jane, Taekwondo, Marcia, Martha? I'm not sure what to call you and what's in a name. And ain't it a shame you can't smoke in here? And if you could, I would offer you one, but I'm afraid you're gonna have to go outside and freeze your little bum. So what's it gonna be? A cigarette with me or regret alone? A breath of city fresh air or sitting by yourself next to this old and lonely, dusty, soon to be extinct public payphone? But I look good next to a lady, and I feel fine when they're around. Do you mind if I call you baby, or is it an uncomfortable sound? She said, man, you're not for me, not in a million years or eternity. If you want to buy me a drink, then make it tall. But if you're going to keep talking stupid, don't say nothing at all. 'Cause I look good next to a man too, but not you. And she said, I look good next to a man too, but not you. That hurt. I said, babe, I understand completely. I just wish you could have let me down a little more discreetly. You see, you embarrass me in front of my friends. She said, you don't have any friends. I said, that's beside the point. Come on, baby, let's blow this joint. She said, I'm leaving alone. If you want a number so bad, why don't you get one off the old and dusty, soon to be extinct public payphone? But I look good next to a lady, and I feel fine when they're around. Do you mind if I call you baby, or is it an uncomfortable sound? Well, I guess I must have lost my Casanova on a cold and lonely shoulder of a road or a woman. I can't remember, but I gotta go back to recapture. Maybe a little slice of heaven, maybe flame-throwing rapture. Somewhere I'll start down here in New Jersey, work my way up to Manchester, New Hampshire. But I look good next to a lady, and I feel fine when they're around. Do you mind if I call you baby, or is it an uncomfortable sound? Well, the streets are empty and the bars are closed,
I hope you'll find your way home soon. There's a stray dog limping on the side of the road. I hope he finds a bone soon.
Next to a lady.
Next to a lady.
Next to a lady. There's a line in there. If you're going to keep talking stupid, don't say nothing at all. I'm a Spanish teacher, and when there's a phrase, it goes like this: En boca cerrada no entran moscas. So if your mouth is closed, the insects can't get in.
That's beautiful. That's great.
So I immediately thought of that.
I mean, that's good advice for anybody, right?
Yes.
Stop talking so much.
Including myself, for a lot of people that know me. And over the last 38 episodes, I've said some things on this podcast, and I say to myself, I could have been a lot better if I had just not said anything at all.
Oh, you should have seen me on my last job interview. You have no idea. Yeah, we won't go there. Well, I opened up that bag, but that's fine.
Well, hopefully you went there, and on the way there you thought of a song, and on the way back you thought maybe of a song.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen either.
It's wishful.
It was hollow all the way through.
Yeah, just a lose-lose.
A lose-lose situation. I think that song is a winner.
Well, thank you.
And we do have one more.
Yeah.
And if you want to introduce that one, please go ahead.
I would love to. This one is actually written, the lyrics are written by you, Fox.
I wrote this.
Yeah, North on 35.
On 35.
Yeah. Not 95.
35.
No, you sent me these lyrics. Hey, maybe 2 years ago. Say, I wrote this. See, if you like it, see what you can do with it. And I always, they're great lyrics. So, do you want to give the background?
Yes. The background is it's about a good friend of mine, Corey Dommel, and Corey and I were coaching together in 2015. It was during the All-Star break, and I went down to my parents' beach home during the All-Star break, and Corey followed me. We were sitting up on my parents' deck during those 3 or 4 days, and a couple of cocktails. Said, let's write a song. I had my book of poetry had come out. I always told you I always wanted to be make these poems into songs. Yeah. And so we sat there, and he kind of talked to me about what has his journey as a coach been like. We talked. I threw some things together that I think make sense. Highway 35 is a famous U.S. highway. I was on it in Austin just a few weeks back, and was able to take a picture of a sign and send it Corey's way, who's now coaching in Mexico. But yeah, it's called North on 35. His life, not only in the game of baseball, but his travels throughout life as well. North on 35.
Excellent. I took a couple liberties just to make it fit, so hopefully you forgive that, and we'll see how it goes.
Always forgiven. Here is the song, North on 35.
I'm heading north on the drive. As I approach the 35, I tell you it's not the age, it's the miles. And I've been up and I've been down, and I've been all around. I tell you it's not the age, it's the miles. The year of 9 in the Northeast, trying to tame that winter's beast. In only 5 days, my summer's bed. And all the stories that can be told, but memories unfold of where these wheels have tread. From Amarillo to Winnipeg, and sleeping on egg crates, nowhere to put my head. It was a 24-hour cruise. So much time for Jason, Jimmy, Hank, and the blues. Heading north on the drive, As I approach the 35, I tell you it's not the age, it's the miles. And I've been up and I've been down, and I've been all around. I tell you it's not the age, it's the miles. And I've gotten checks from UPS and Williams Ski and Patio, and for all their dollars they still don't know. April 1st rolls around and I get itching to leave this greasy kitchen and get myself back on the road. From first place to last, the miles come and they pass, but I give thanks overall to that bat, that glove, and that little white ball. Heading north on the drive, as I approach the 35, I tell you it's not the age, it's the miles. I've been up and I've been down, and I've been all around. I tell you it's not the age, it's the miles. From Mississippi to the Great Lakes, to the border of Laredo, from feet of snow, the land of Lemoore, to this bartender at the Royal, you can bet your ass I've seen her. Heading north on the drive, as I approach the 35, I tell you it's not the age, it's the miles.
The song North on 35. Dave, thank you for putting your musical genius on the lyric. I appreciate it.
Well, I hope I did it some justice. It's a beautiful lyric. So 3 chords and the truth. You know, I try to keep it simple.
Oh, 3 chords and the truth. I like that. I like that.
I didn't make that up.
Well, I'm going to say you did because you are the first person I've heard say that.
Excellent.
Okay. Dave, to wrap up here, we know all heroes don't wear a cape. If you had the opportunity to take a 1-hour car ride with one of the following 3 people, who would you choose and why? Would it be Bob Dylan? Would it be Tom Waits? Or would it be Rick Murphy?
Oof. Wow, that's a toughie. Well, Rick is more accessible, so I'm gonna scratch him off the list just because I could conceivably do that pretty easily. In reality,
he's still around and everything.
He's in Florida, but I can make that happen. Getting down to Tom or Bob, I would go Tom. Bob's a really eccentric guy, and he probably wouldn't say much. I imagine he'd probably be pretty uncomfortable silences for me anyway. I don't think he would care at all. And I think Tom's just a better time. If you ever seen his interviews, he gives the greatest interviews of all time. He's just hilarious, and his mind is just so imaginative. And it would be Tom. I'd pick Tom.
Resounding choices. I like, in the what, which, and where segment, you were so vehemently sure that it was Bob and Tom and yourself, and then a clear answer. A lot of people ask, well, what if A, what if B, what if C? You didn't have any other variables. It's Tom Waits.
Yeah, it would be Tom, for sure. Yeah. We'd probably end up in jail, but that's okay.
Well, at least you be with him, I guess. Who would you like to hear on an upcoming podcast?
People we know, or
anybody that you know that I may know and I may not know. Who would be a good guest to have on this podcast?
That is a good question. There's this guy, Brer Brian. I don't know if you know him. He doesn't live too far from here. Another eccentric guy. A great songwriter, unknown. He releases his stuff pretty much strictly to SoundCloud, but he's worth checking out. You can check out Brer, or maybe it's Bandcamp, brer.bandcamp.com. But he has about 10 albums out. He plays a bunch of instruments. Quirky guy, not for everybody as far as his voice, but just super, super talented and well-read, interesting guy.
I haven't met him. Have I, at Dragonfly?
I don't believe so.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get together on that. I would love to have him on because a fan of yours is a fan of mine. How about that?
Awesome.
How about that? How about that? Dave, this has been, again, as I always say, because it always is, an absolute blast. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure's all mine. Thank you, Fox.
Indeed, indeed. That will wrap up episode 39 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Dave and I will talk to you all later. Take good care.
So long.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer. Because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.
Got grease on hinges, been home to one-night binges, Guinness and IPA. Come in and stay, Michelob and Amber Bach. Got poison, wanna rock these dives. Yeah, these dives, these dives. Yeah, these dives. Fry fish here free of charge. Set yourself small groups or large. Midnight rodeo to Sky Bar. In them not too far from home. Michelob and Amber Bach. Got poison, wanna rock these dives. Yeah, these dives, these dives. Yeah, these dives. 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 Got some Guinness and IPA. Yeah, these dives. Some Michelob and Amber Bach. Yeah, wanna rock these dives.